Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave.
Greetings, programs. I'm Jake, and tonight we're going to be joined by Randall from Catalyst Labs, who I am super stoked to have on the show.
I'm really glad to be here. Somehow I've never been on, right? Like, that's weird. That's never happened yet.
It's great that it's happening now. I was talking to Randall before the show, as we always do, waiting for Jake to arrive. I basically said that, yeah, over the last couple of years, when people have been posting photos of mechs in our Facebook group, or Jake's been showing off some things, whatever it happens to be, he's there sort of picking out, oh, that's an Atlas, that's a Lancer, that's a Archer, that kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm not aware of this. It's such an important part of miniature wargaming, and I feel that I'm missing out essentially each time. So,
well, I mean, you're right to feel that way because you are.
So I'm it's super excited to talk about it tonight, sort of very specifically, and then we'll a little bit later we'll talk about what else we're going to do with this sort of being my journey, my introduction, my journey into Battletech. So
nice, awesome.
Be cool.
So, Randall, do you want to just introduce yourself to the folks and let them know what you do? You're what, the creative officer, or I know your title's changed like 8 times. So,
I do in fact have a lot of hats. So my name's Randall Bills. I'm the creative director at Catalyst Game Labs, which basically means my fingers touch nearly every aspect of the company. Almost nothing goes out the door that I don't have some input on in, some small fashion, some bigger than others. I do a lot of other game development. We're doing a My Hero Academia miniatures game. We're doing a Pathfinder Runefire card game. I'm doing all primary development on that. But then I also help Ray Orastia. He's the Battletech line developer. Him and Aaron. Battletech's, the 800-pound gorilla. And so whenever they need some additional help and brainstorming, I dive on that. And whenever we do special projects like, Battletech Gothic or Aces, I'm usually the one that dives on that grenade and make sure it gets across the finish line.
Nice.
It's really helping Ray, make an incredible line. So and then I've been playing Battletech since 1986, so it'll be 40 years next year. Yes, that's right. I love it.
This is a well-loved copy from 1986.
Yeah. I read mine until the cover came off, and then I think I did it to a second one, and then I finally had a third one. And then the second one, I think I actually sleeved it into sleeves with a 3-ring binder because I was tired of buying them again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been playing for 39 years, be 40 years next year, and then I started work at Facet Corporation in 1996. So then, like 29 years, I've been working on it across all the companies. I like to joke that when the new brand and new IP is bought and the new license is given, apparently I'm like bought and shifted with it.
Yeah, Randall's part of the apparatus that is purchased when you buy BattleTech.
Yeah, so I've been doing this so long that I've just kind of become the face of Battletech, and which I love. I love this game. I love the universe. I love the community that I've become friends with all over the world. So yeah, it's pretty amazing to be here. Awesome.
It's a pretty cool journey. Like I tell people all the time at the store, because they're like, oh, I didn't know that people had this again, and like that's my favorite thing. And I'm sure you still get it now. People are like, oh my god, BattleTech, and I'm like, yeah. So the short version is there was that other weird company that owned it first, and they had like the little books that we actually got a copy and sent it to Lauren, and I have one of them. So like they had it first, and then FASA did it, right? And then FASA called it Battle Droids, and then they got sued, so they immediately changed it to BattleTech.
Yeah. So you're referring to the Nova books.
Yeah.
Those actually came out after the original Battle Droids, so it's really close.
Okay.
But yeah, it was basically Jordan in like 1983 is sitting in a toy, an international licensing show where toys are being shown off, and what would at that time have been Macross, Gundam, all of those toys are being shown off. Robotech hadn't even premiered yet in the US, but Jordan took one look at it and said, this is going to be huge. This will change the world. He was able to see that. And then he licensed the rights for those images, but then thought, Western audiences, I'm not sure if they're going to go for teenagers saving the universe. And so he immediately spun it into the fall of the Roman Empire, which is exactly what it is, right? It's the Starly collapsing into Holy Roman Empire and all the dynasties of the houses and so on. And so then they published it as Battle Droids in '84. They got a letter from Lucasfilm that year that said you can't use droids. And they're like, oh, okay, Mr. Lucas, yes, we will change that right away. Don't sue us. And then did Battletech. And ultimately, I'm super glad because Droid Warrior just doesn't sound nearly as cool as Mech Warrior.
I agree.
So then from 85 to January 2001, it was at Facet Corporation. For those that know, FASA also published Shadowrun. They did Centurion, Renegade Legion. They did a huge line of great.
They did Star Trek fleet battles,
and just a huge line of Star Trek RPG supplements.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Actually, the very first product they ever published were ship plans for the Traveler RPG. That's literally the very first thing they ever published. So, and then they hit a spot in the early 80s where they did like a Top Gun game. They did Clavel games. Like they were just, it's a game company. They're like finding out what's going to hit. And then Battletech hit and, changed the world. So then it was there until 2001. I got hired in 1996, and so was there through when it closed down. And then Jordan had started WizKids 2 years earlier actually, it might have been 3 years earlier at that point, to release Mage Knight, which was the very first collectible miniatures game with the click.
Oh, I remember that.
Yep. Yeah. And that stormed our industry with excitement. And then when FASA closed, Jordan was immediately like, well, we're already starting to work on the next line. The next click game, which would end up being MechWarrior Dark Age. I'd love you to come out and work on that. And so there was a short period where I was working 2 full-time jobs. I was working WizKids full time. And then they had also licensed to a German company called Fantasy Productions, who then set up a U.S. office, FanPro LLC, for me and a gentleman called Rob Boyle. And Rob was in charge of Shadowrun, and I was in charge of Battletech. And so then we kept doing classic Battletech, tech readouts, source books, the whole meal deal. And then that went all the way through 2007, when, for a variety of fun things that maybe we'll get into later, FanPro lost the license, and that's when Catalyst was created. And then 2007 was our first Gen Con. And then, from like 2010 to about 2018 was pretty lean years for classic Battletech. It was there was just a few of us still playing. A huge shout out to any of you who might have been part of those that stayed playing during those years. That was awesome. But it very much was a Battletech's gone. You can't find it. No one's playing it. That was definitely the vibe. And then really what brought it back was the minis, right? Like now we've got 2 hours, and I could easily fill that entire time just talking about why we've had this renaissance, right? Like I toured their world last year. It was super cool to do that, and met thousands upon thousands of fans. And almost every time after asking me, what's your favorite mech, they're immediately like, hey, why have we had this renaissance? And so there's a lot of factors, but at the end of the day, it's a minis game, and it's about those plastic mechs. And this is where it gets really fun, because those images, for those that don't know, the original images had to be removed clear back in 1995 and 96. So I literally showed up, and the first thing I had to do was work my way through 3025 and yank out a whole bunch of images. And it was like almost heartbreaking. Yep. So Wasp, Archer, Warhammer, all of those, we had to yank them out. And so for like almost 25 years, those images weren't in the game, and they're some of the most beloved, right? Like these were founding imagery.
Hang on, where's everybody's favorite? Where's the favorite?
So the Warhammer or the Marauder? You're going to start a fight to see.
The Marauder's a good one, but like this is like the classic.
Well, the Warhammer is on the cover.
So you're tracking that down.
The Battlemaster, yeah. Although that's actually not Macross. That's
Bigfoot. That's from Dougro.
Jake, Randall, I'm just going to interrupt you there for a sec.
Interrupt away, or else I'll just talk the entire time, man.
No, it's one thing I forgot to mention before on the StreamYard Studio thing on the right-hand side. There's a little.
Oh, you'll be able to see questions from the chat.
Oh, got it. Am I able to see that?
Yeah, in the top right, it should say either private chat or comments.
Comments. So I got to click on the comments. Hey,
yeah,
there you go.
Because it defaults to private chat.
Oh, nice. Got it. Okay, cool.
I was going to say hi to everybody in the chat already.
Yeah. So
Luis there. Hi, Scott.
No, that's awesome.
Hi, Matt. Hi, Kat.
Kat's in here.
Kat's
Josh.
Finish your afternoon with work, which is awesome. Scott says, Randall, you're giving very second age Saruman vibes.
I'm okay with that.
Josh is here as well. Hey, Josh. He said it's good seeing Catalyst branch out. And we're just being joined by Brent from Goobertown Hobbies.
Oh, what's up, Brent? Brent and I hung out a little bit at Iron World a couple weeks ago. So
awesome.
Yeah, to Randall's point, like I know a huge thing for me was, like a lot of us, who doesn't like giant robots, right?
Yeah.
It's like giant battle mechs, like everything's cool.
Absolutely.
And I owned a lot of the Macross stuff. So when this came out, I think it's Kevin Luce is the artist from the original book.
Dwayne Luce.
And you could tell that he was like, I'm just gonna draw my favorite mechs.
Yeah.
Because it was like IP was kind of new. People weren't really getting into that sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
So I thought it was really kind of neat that essentially he was like, I'm going to draw my favorite Macross mechs. So anything Macross is in here. The Wasp, the Stinger, the Valkyrie. The Valkyrie, he called it, like it's called the Valkyrie, but like those mechs, like those are all from Macross. All the Destroids, so like the Warhammer, the Rifleman, the Archer, those are all from Macross. The Marauder is a Zentradi officer pod.
Yep.
The Oscout and the Ostall are his versions of the Zentradi battle pod that he like tweaked a little bit. But then you got all the mechs with the big feet. They're from Dougram, which was another Japanese cartoon. So you had like Bigfoot is the battle master. The Goliath is from Dougram. The Thunderbolt is from Dougram.
You also had another one, Crusher Joe.
Crusher Joe is another one.
The Locust and the Galleon Tank are from.
But it's hilarious. Like, and again, at the time, everybody was like, "Oh, these are super cool robots," because they were super cool robots. But then they got in trouble for it later. But it cracks me up because I remember when you guys changed the books, I was like, "That's not what a Locust looks like." But then everybody was like, "Oh, I get it. It's a licensing thing." And I will say, having done all the new sketches for you guys for Hairbrain for like the mech game, a lot of the new designs are so cool looking. Like they're different enough that it's not the same thing, but it still keeps that classic silhouette that a lot of people fell in love with. So you don't feel like it's just like everything that's old is new again kind of vibe, without being like, oh, we just recycled another drawing. But
that's ultimately was part of this test thing, right? So in the early teens, we came up with a plan to kind of do the Mustang 1950 to like 1970s. It was called Project Phoenix.
Yep.
But it was very specifically like these are Civil War jihad era designs, and then those designs still look like the originals in the setting, right? So it was a little putting our toe in that direction of redesign. Part of it was, I was doing art direction at the time because we were a tiny little company. I am not an art director. I can give you good feedback on art, but I am not somebody here that's actually supposed to be art directing better illustrations. And then we just didn't have a team together to do this project. So then a couple more years go by. It's like 2015. And all of us are looking around. So Hairbrain Schemes has begun the project. The Kickstarter wouldn't actually happen for another 2 years, but they had started working on it. Piranha Games was still doing MechWarrior Online, which was awesome. They've been the biggest supporter of the IP for decades. So huge shout out to them, Russ and their whole team. But everyone's looking at each other like, okay, I think it's time to actually bite the bullet and just redesign them. Just redesign them. Take all the elements that we love and fold in modern aesthetics. And, again, to be really honest, we were all terrified. We were all terrified because, one, we have seen other companies do this exact same thing and have failed. They have done it and not managed to connect with their community with the new imagery, and it's killed the game. The second thing, and luckily I get to say such things now, is we were all scared that Harmony Gold would come and sue the pants off us, right? And so eventually we're like, you know what? But like Battletech's gonna sail off into the night here. We're down in the depths of the pit here. And we did, in fact, publish at least one book every single year. So it's been in publication through all this time, which is kind of amazing. But it was at the end of its life by any stretch of the imagination. And if we had been any standard company, we would have handed the license back. But as I was talking before we even started, I've been doing this long enough. It's like baked into my DNA, and all of us love that. Lauren, the owner of the company, he's 25 novels under his belt and 1 million source books. He loves this universe. We just couldn't let it go. And Piranha Games and Hairbrain Schemes wouldn't do it. And so we're like, screw it, we're just going to do it. And so I have this memory of a meeting, and it was me and Brent Evans, our previous art director for many, many years, and Anthony Scroggins, the 3D art director for Catalyst, and Ray Arastia, the current Battletech line developer. And we have that Marauder, the officer's battle pod up. And I must have had 20 little windows up across 2 screens of every single. Yeah. So not only did we have that, but we literally had every single image that we could find that anyone had ever published, any toy, anything. So like 30 different screens up, and we're going through it fighting over should that one bolt on the one bevel of the bottom leg down on that shin guard, does that need to look like that, or do we need to shift it a little? Like hours long meeting about the most minute stuff. Because again, one, we love this to death and we want to treat it right. Two, we had to make sure that the community, that we would give the respect to the community and give them imagery that they could fall in love with. And then the whole time we had to think, is Harmony Gold going to sue us? So we put out the Marauder, and the Warhammer is actually the very first thing we released. I think it was 2016. And then the Marauder, and then we all like held our breath and nothing happened for 6 months. And then Piranha Games like, okay, I guess we're golden. And they started powering them out into MechWarrior Online. Harebrained Schemes started to set up so they could have it in their computer game. And then eventually Harmony Gold did sue us. And speaking of what happens when you become like the face of the thing, I'm the only person that was actually named individually in this lawsuit that named.
They're like that no good Randall Bills. We're going to go after him directly.
Hear that, Randall? And then all three of us companies. It was a lawsuit of all of us. And of course, I'm initially like terrified, like, oh crap, here's this giant American corporation. Am I going to, go down in flames? And then of course I read the brief, and it was so ludicrous that eventually the judge threw it out with prejudice, which is basically a legal term that means they can never, ever, ever come back against us, and these are ours.
Yeah. Wow. They also, to further clarify, Josh brought it up in the chat too. Harmony Gold basically doesn't own the rights to any of this stuff. Harmony Gold owns distribution rights for the cartoon itself.
Well, and that's part of what was so stunning. That was actually one of those revelations that they never even have the rights that they had sued everyone telling them that they had the rights back, because they've sued multiple people.
Oh, yeah, and they've won a bunch of lawsuits.
Yeah. So, that was another one. So it was a glorious day for all mecha fans. And then, so then in 2018, January, we released the new beginner box and a Game of Armored Combat with the new plastics. And then the next summer, we did the Clan Invasion Kickstarter. And then all during that time, the Harebrained Schemes game had released in 2018. DLCs were then dropping in 2019. Like there was none of that was really planned. It was just unbelievable serendipity.
Was 18 was the 35th anniversary, right?
2019 was. Okay. Yeah, 2019 was the 35th anniversary.
And then last year was the 40th.
Was the 40th anniversary. Okay. So it all played together really well. And then you could even run down the rabbit hole of, any style, whether it's cyberpunk or giant robots or whatever it might be, waxes and wanes in the cultural zeitgeist of what's popular, what's not. Robots are big and popular again. There's so many factors we could talk about. But it really was, though, releasing those plastic minis with that new amazing imagery that both, and I knew we had hit it out of the ballpark when we released that Warhammer, and I got inundated with people going, oh my gosh, you're going to get sued because you did a Warhammer. And I'm like, okay, I need you to do something for me. I need you to not think you remember what the Warhammer looks like. I need you to go back to that original 3025 and open it up and compare it exactly to our image, to your image, and you will find that every single aspect of that mech was meticulously worked over. And almost always I would then get a response back that would be something akin to, you guys made it how cool it's always been in my head.
Right.
And then I knew we had done it. And then even then, when the mercenaries came around, everyone who's in this chat, Jake, whoever might have been involved, I cannot thank you enough. That was we thought we had done an amazing thing in the clan invasion, and then mercenaries came along, and that threw down the giant detonating explosion heard round our industry.
Battletech definitely had the whole vibe of like when you see the shark fin, like the first Kickstarter was the shark fin, and you're like, oh, I don't know how big that shark is, and then you like got it out of the water, and you're like, whoa, that's a big shark. Like that was what the second Kickstarter was.
That's a great way to do that. And you mentioned the whole Battletech's back, so like when coming out of the Clan Invasion Kickstarter, I ran into that constantly, right? Battletech's back. And initially, that kind of hurt my soul because I'm like, no, we never went away. I've been here the whole time. Dang it!
It just got reinforcements. And
then when Mercenaries came out, then I didn't care. And then when somebody would say that, I'm like, yes, it is, and it's a great time to be playing. What do you need to get started? I can walk you wherever you need. It's awesome, right?
So, and I would say, as a retailer, not just a fan, but as a retailer, I think you guys have been really, really good about making the game really approachable for new players. Like the beginner box is phenomenal. It's like $20, $25, I think, for $2. And then a basic rule thing and a little fold-out map that has hexes on it and like some cardstock bad guy mechs to shoot. And it's just like, and some dice, and you're like, here's how to play it. And I tell guys all the time they come in, they're always like, oh, tabletop war games are so expensive. I really like Battletech, but I'm really nervous. And I'm like, spend $25.
Yeah.
And if you don't like this, give it to somebody. Or you're like, oh, I spent $25.
Yeah.
And if you like it, dive in. It's so easy and so approachable for new players. You guys have done just a great job. So
no, I appreciate that. We, luckily we have been doing this long enough that we've been able to learn from a lot of our mistakes in the past.
I remember back in the day having to bust out my Ralpartha metal catalog, and I would mail order all my battle mechs.
Yeah. No, actually, what's really funny about the metal is about 3 years ago.
Yeah, you guys worked out a deal with Iron Man.
Well, no, that was a whole separate thing. No, that was working out a deal with Mike knowing that. For those that don't know, we've purchased Iron Man metals, really to help Mike No and Crazy out at this time in their lives. Mike No to me is Ralpartha. He is Iron Man metals. He is Battletech for that side of it. No, about 3 or 4 years ago, it suddenly dawned on me that I had not played with a metal mini in like 6 months. And I actually had a little panic attack. Like I felt bad about dissing my metal minis. And then I'm like, you know what? They're still on my shelf. I'm never gonna, or they're in their boxes and shelves. I'm never gonna get rid of them. But they've had their time, and man, do I love the new plastics.
Excellent.
Somebody said, Cat, we're getting an echo. It's only me, though?
So I think what it might be, Jake, is that when you're talking, Randall's mic is picking up.
It's picking me up and then putting me back. Okay.
Picking up you coming through his speakers. So it could be that.
Is it any better now?
It is at the moment.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
So that's a long, convoluted history of Battletech and where it's come from and kind of why it's all back.
Cool.
And again, I could talk for hours more. There are so many other interesting elements to this, and not the least of which is still a 10 to 15% magic sauce where we're very lucky. There's lots of game companies, lots of properties that do all the same thing, that have all the same incredible serendipitous events occur, and they do okay. To jump up to a whole level where suddenly Battletech is the second best-selling minis game in the North American market, that just takes some luck with the die roll, and we're very humble and grateful for that.
Yep.
Absolutely. I love it. I'm rocking my mech armor damage shirt that we used to make.
You can't quite see it. I got a little blood spirit action going on.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Nice.
Dave, do you have any questions? Because Randall and I can just talk about Battletech all day.
Well, we'll just go.
Well, what Randall's done is brought us up to the current day.
Yeah.
Essentially. So So that's good. We can ask some more focused stuff in the sort of the next section, because I'll mention this before we go and do our slide presentation bit. But there is so much background. There's so much history. There are so many interesting parts along the way that like I've been involved in Warhammer for almost as long. And so there are a lot of stories that I know about different things that happened. I don't know any of those for Battletech, so it can feel a little bit overwhelming. So we'll have to, I think during our conversation tonight, it'll be like, okay, where should I start looking at this, or where should I start looking at that? So as you mentioned, Randall, we'll jump into that for sure.
Sounds good.
I think it'll be great. Cool. So I'm going to bring up our presentation first up. There it is. And as regular viewers will know, this is the point where we thank our sponsor, our season sponsor, the Army Painter. Jake and I are also members of the Army Painter factory team. In the notes down below, there's a link you can use to get through to the Army Painter web store, where you can use our code BPD5 to get 5% off any of your orders. And Jake has his speed paint markers.
These are phenomenal. Like, I cannot say enough good things about these. There are so many people that are nervous about, painting their first minis, or not really sure if they know how to do it, or they don't have the time, or they don't have the space. This set is phenomenal. It comes out, I think September 20th is the launch date. You can pre-order them below, like I said, using our code, like Dave just said. You can order them from me at Alpha Omega. You can get them from your friendly local store. They just announced that all of their stuff went up 8%, and it's because they're splitting the tariff with us. They're paying for half of it, and then the rest of it is getting rolled into the cost. So all the prices look insane. So I think this is like $63.17 or something nuts. It was going to be, I think, $59.99 or $58.99 or whatever. And now it's like it's a weird price point, but it's because that's showing that 8% like tax adjustment for everything.
Yeah.
But the markers are phenomenal. So the small box on the right there that says introductory set, it comes with green, it comes with yellow, and it comes with red. And that I think is going to be like $16-17. Again, it's something weird. It's like $16.83 or something. But and then the big box is the one that's going to be like 63 and change. And that comes with 10 markers. They are a blast. There's a metallic that's in there that's silver. They're going to do another set of these with new colors, and they're going to do a metallic set supposedly down the road. At least that's what I would assume that they're going to do. But the markers themselves are super fun to use. It's like a big Sharpie, and how it works is you take the cap off, right, and then you basically prime the pen.
Hang on a sec, Jake.
Oh, sure. So there we go. All right, so they come like this, and they're pretty good size. Like this is a standard pen, so it's a little bit fatter. It's like I said, it's like a Sharpie. So what you're going to do is you take the cap off, and then there's this little bump out here, this little bump out right here, and then you basically prime it by pumping this. I don't want to do it now because it'll get the paint to come out. But you basically pump it like that, and then it'll refill the tip and kind of get things. It breaks the seal and kind of get things going. And then every time you take it out to use it, you just kind of literally it's like a paintbrush that you don't have to go back to the paint pot for. So it has a little bit of a tip. You can use it like a brush. You can also just use it like a marker and fill it in. And if you end up mashing the tips, it comes with 10 replacement tips. So you can swap everything out. Nice. I got red on me. But you can swap everything out. But they work really, really well. Like I did a couple of the Marvel United guys with them, just like kind of slapped some paint on them, and they came out really good. But the silver is going to be dynamite for doing like edging, because it's literally like a silver Sharpie. So you can kind of go along the edge, and they're all speed paints. So they're going to tone everything. It's a really, really nice way to do stuff. The Battletech minis are actually perfect for this because there's so much texture and lines and detail on them. The speed paint wants to be on that stuff. So you'd still have to prime them, but then you just use these right out of the box and you're good to go. They're a great kit.
Yeah, it's one of the things I was thinking is tonight that definitely when my Alpha Strike set arrives, that I'll be trying some of the markers on that.
Yeah,
I think the as you said, the silver over the back, and then maybe even once that's dried, popping some of the grim black over it.
Yeah, or the gray even. Like it'll
gray, actually Gravelord gray. Yeah.
But they're super neat. Really neat product. They just started rolling these out the other day. So there's photos of, all of us in the factory team using them in like random spots. I'm gonna do a photo next week of me like literally at the hockey rink, like drawing them on a model while I'm in net. But they're really, really fun to use and surprisingly easy. And they're targeted at sort of, if you bought, Zombicide, or if you bought like some board game that has 1 million pieces and you're like, well, I want to paint those, but I'm not a miniature painter. These just make it great. Like I said, you just spray prime them. I would do them white or like an off-white, or even zenithal prime them, and then take these to them. They'll look great. But any kind of pre-production model like that, whether it's, the Song of Ice and Fire stuff that's all one piece, or the Shadowrun minis, or the Battletech stuff, like it's an easy way for a new player to get their stuff painted and have it look cool without being like, I'm really nervous, I've never done this, like I don't know what to buy. Like you just need these. You don't need anything else. You don't need a palette. You're not cleaning the brushes because there's no brush. It's a marker. Like you don't have to thin anything. Like they're dynamite.
Yeah.
Brent already got his.
I'm also going to suggest that you go and check out Sam Lenz's latest video.
Yeah.
Not only super informational about the markers, but it's one of his funniest today. So definitely cool.
Well, and as a quick follow up to that discussion of painting, again, I could talk for hours about the other elements that play into the Renaissance, and one of it is how easy they are to paint. Anthony Scroggins, who is our lead 3D designer, and he builds the teams and oversees it. He's a painter. And so from the moment he started this work, he's always thinking about how will paint work on this. And so I've heard from brand new people who've never literally painted in their entire lives. And I think it was 2 years ago at UK Games Expo, I had the great chance to meet with Duncan Rhodes, shake his hand and thank him for all he's done for our hobby. And he commented as a master painter at how easy they are to paint. And so that was, again, great work on Anthony's part. And then that alchemical magic that happens at the manufacturer with the plastics, somehow they put a material together that just takes paint so wonderfully well. And that absolutely has been part of the driving power of why everyone's loving playing and painting right now. And
Army Painter, just quick side note, Army Painter makes the 2 Battletech paint sets. There's a small one, and then there's like a bigger one. There's
there's the original, basically a beginner, if you will. And then when they came out with their new high-end Fanatics line, we were actually like, they released the Fanatics line, and within, I think it was only like 3, maybe 4 months later, ours was releasing. We were in before any, like, it was actually kind of wild. We're at the Gen Con before that, and we're both like, well, what's going on? What's the new thing? What can we do together? Because we love them, they love us. And they look at each other like, well, his NDA's signed. Let's tell him about it. And so they actually told me about this Fanatics thing, and then handed me some samples that I got to take home and hand to my friend Jared Saunders, because I can't even remotely paint at that level to know the details of it. I gave it to Jared. He comes back to me like, oh my gosh, these paints are going to be amazing. And so we immediately put that deal together. So yeah, those products are amazing. I've seen so many people using them and other elements. Even I'm interested in trying these paint pens, though. So I may grab me a copy, too.
Oh, for sure. Excellent. Next up, just quickly, I wanted to show off this from everybody.
I love pugs.
Yeah, knowing that Jake loves pugs. Hang on a second. I'm just going to try this. Sorry, Randall.
No, it's all good.
There we go. How's that? Yep. No echo. So yeah, that's where it's going through from. Yeah. So yeah, Tim Colono, Trenchcoat Minis is running a Kickstarter at the moment for STLs for Pugtown.
Nice.
Link is in the notes below if you want to check it out. I think he's got other pugs in the range as well, not just ones riding emus.
Oh, good.
So just in case you didn't want that Australian flavor to it. Fantastic. Okay.
There we go.
Now I'm going to bring that back and okay, are we still getting that echo? No, maybe not. So yeah, I jumped online, checked out the Goonhammer review of the Alpha Strike box set, and snagged some. I say, as you see here, stolen from Goonhammer.com. Credit is Jack Hunter. So thanks to Goonhammer and Jack Hunter for these photos. But
Yeah, these are good. He's got some classic stuff on the outsides and then clan stuff in the middle.
Yeah. Well, that's that is the Alpha Strike box.
Yep.
Oh, right on. Okay, sweet.
Yeah, so it's got the 5 versus the 8.
Cool. So I think first up, I would like to ask, as a complete noob, how many factions are there, or what are the...
There's a ton. There's
okay.
So backing up, there is 2 organizations of factions. The largest macro scale of Battletech across most of its eras. It's a long enough property and it covers enough time that it's divided into eras, just like Star Wars or Star Trek, a lot of other big giant properties. And it's usually a technological divide. So you have the great houses, which are part of the inner sphere, and these are noble houses, very much War of the Roses type of Middle Ages feeling. And then you have the clans. And the clans are warriors bred for combat, literally bred in tin cans, and they have much more advanced technology. So usually when you're starting into Battletech, particularly looking at a faction you may want to play or looking at what you want to put on the table, that's usually the first divide is, are you going to be these ultra clan warriors bred for combat and super high technology, or you're looking more on the inner sphere side, the other side, that it has more of the noble houses of Middle Ages, Holy Roman Empire-esque vibe. Then from those 2 macro, you then have below that are the 5 great houses. And this is actually what the game started with all those years ago, is the 5 great houses that everyone knows and loves. And that is the House Kurita, House Davian, House Lau, House Merrick, and House Steiner. Each of those kind of has their own vibe of, the Draconis Combine is samurais in space. I'll get to mercenaries, man. You calm down. The Draconis Combine, House Kurita is basically samurais in space. The House Steiner is basically like merchant princes with a German aesthetic to it. So each of them have their own vibe. And then the clans, kind of the same thing. You have a whole bunch of these totem, like Clan Wolf, Clan Jade Falcon, Clan Ghost Bear, so a little more totem-esque. And then below that you have an ocean of little smaller guys that maybe don't even exist in a particular era. They may have only existed for one type of era. And then you have what I call the cheating faction, which is what Jake was showing up, which are the mercenaries.
What? No, the cheating faction is the clans. Like
the reason I say mercenaries are cheating is if you find the clans. So mercenaries have been there from the very beginning. It's very much the vibe of the universe. The tagline of the very first MechWarrior RPG and on the back of the Battle Troops box is life is cheap, mechs aren't. It was very much this society where kind of like the fall of the Roman Empire, we've lost advanced technologies, we're barely keeping ourselves together as we fight endless wars, and the only way we can keep fighting wars is to hire mercenaries to come in. So the reason I call it cheating, though, is tell me a player that says, oh, I'm a House Davian player, and they will also have a favorite mercenary faction that they alternate between. And the other reason that it's also cheating is because even though the clans are snobby warriors or everything, look down their nose like crazy on all the mercenaries, nearly every clan player will also have a mercenary that they love playing. And so that's like the easy way, right? Like, so if you look at the clans and you're like, huh, and if you look at the houses and are like, huh, I'm not sure, then the mercenaries are the easiest way to get in. And there's a couple of great flavors, great logos. I often tell players, just find the logo that looks cool for you. Start there. Yeah. It's really easy. Now, for the longest time, even well after we had come out with the new box sets, we had force packs rolling out. It was really easy to get into the game side. There was the problem of this Titanic universe and like, where do I begin, and ask any 20 players and they would give you 20 different answers. And luckily we now have the universe book. This is a moment to give a huge shout out to Ray Arastia, the line developer. He put his heart and soul into that book. It is a glorious piece of work. I really think it's just, it's certainly one of the best books Battletech has ever published. I think it's just one of the all-time great gaming books. But it's just a huge expose on the whole history, but it's buried in infinite amounts of art. And like you never think you're getting lost, because it's also, you can just flip to any 2 pages and have a nice 2-page spread and get an information dump on that part of the universe. But the first part is the history, and then the second part are some clans, the Inner Sphere, and mercenaries. And so I tell people, grab the universe book, just flick through until you see a logo that catches your eye, or flick through until you see a mech image that catches your eye, and start reading. And let that book and let the logo kind of dictate where you're going to go. Now, the other
Dave, the big thing I think is, because there's so many factions, to Randall's point, there's so many to pick from as a player. So the good news there, like same thing we would say for Warhammer, which is whatever you think looks the coolest, that's what you should play. So the quick breakdown I always give people is, so the 5 inner spheres are basically, you've got the Draconis Combine, which is basically, think feudal Japan. Yep. It's the Imperial Japan of World War II, basically, writ large. Then you've got House Lao, which is basically like continental China and like the surrounding, like, sort of Far East. Then you've got House Marek, which is basically, it's America. It's basically like it's the decadent West. And then you've got House Steiner, which is basically the EU. It's a very like Scandinavian German cross section, but it's basically the EU. And then House Davian is the United Kingdom. Like it's all of the Commonwealth, but it's the United Kingdom. And Battletech originally was designed so that you have 3 things to worry about. You have how much heat does your mech generate, and then the heat is basically built by how much armor do you have, how many weapons do you have, how fast are you? So that triangle or that delta sort of like makes up the game. It's like you have X amount of resources that you can kind of balance into. I'm going to have more firepower, which means I'm going to be slower and I'll have decent armor. I'm going to have a ton of armor, but like not a lot of weapons, but I'm kind of medium speed. I'll be really fast, but I don't have a lot of armor and I have a couple of weapons. And then that's how you make your balance. The reason I call the clans cheating is when they put out the clans, and this is not Randall's fault, but when they put out the clans are like, oh, we're using new math. And you're like, wait, what? And it's like, yeah, we don't have to worry about any of those requirements. And you're like, how so? It's like, well, our armor weighs less and our guns weigh less and our mechs are more efficient and our heat generation is better. And you're like, so you're like playing a different set of rules if you use the clans against the Inner Sphere, which is kind of the thing. Like in the narrative, it was great because the idea is the clans show up and they just outclass everybody. And you're like, wait, what? Yep. So you had to be cagey, you had to be a really good like tactician, and in the books that's what happens. Like all the famous characters are all like, we got to outsmart these guys, and they're used to just coming in and having their way, and we got to think outside the box. We're gonna feint, we're gonna lie to them, we're gonna do these different tactics, and it's awesome. Once you're on the table, unless you're playing somebody who's like if your new buddy is playing, give your brand new friend the clans, and then you can be like, okay, let me show you how it's done, because you know all the ins and outs, and it still doesn't feel like you're punching down because they have an advantage. But the game is super fun, and you can do all the. Then you get into like periphery and like space pirates and mercenary. Like there's so many other things you can do. But Randall's right. Whatever you think looks the coolest, that's what you should just do.
Just start there, and it is both Battletech's greatest weakness and its greatest strength is that depth, right?
Yeah.
The joke is, oh, well, I want to do this crazy X, Y, and Z. Well, there's a rule for that. There's a faction you can find that does it. There's a rule that allows you to do it. And the best part is you can buy a game of Armored Combat and then just sit at a game of Armored Combat for a year and just
that's the core box. That's the core
box. And there is so much value in that core box. Or when you get Alpha Strike, you can get the Alpha Strike box that you'll be getting. And the same thing, you could sit there and never move beyond that and have a great old time. Yeah, and then you get to decide how far you want to put your toe in the pool. It just happens to be a nearly, infinite pool.
Yeah, so Brent said the short story that comes in the $60 starter was a great taste for getting the universe. So if you guys look to Randall's left, our right on screen, that's the Bill's Family Library of Battletech right there. So there are, think like Black Library levels of like background. There are so many novels. They're great.
But again, they're awesome, but don't let it intimidate you. Right? Sure. If that's not your thing, don't do it. Or there's anthologies, or as the one thing I saw that same thing, which is great. Every one of our box sets has a little short story in it, just so you can dip your toe and decide. And the other great thing about BattleTech is you run into so many different players. There's players who only read the novels. That's all they do, right? There's players that only play the game and never really touch the fiction and know a little bit about the lore. There's players that only play the computer games, right? Or you dip your toe, you play a ton of the game, and you read a little bit, you read a novel once a year. And so you get to decide how you're going to experience this. It just so happens that it's so wide that you can go and do whatever you want with it. And that's the intimidating part. And we've tried really hard, as I said, with the universe book, and then with the box sets and force packs to make it a little easier to slide in. But once you take that first step, then you can go wherever you want, and the flexibility of it is just amazing.
It's also very a la carte, to Randall's point. Like as a gamer, like a lot of people in the chat, I'm assuming are gamers, not just painters. But as gamers, like you can kind of add stuff as you want to, or you can swap out mechs, or you can run different things. Like classic BattleTech, which is going to be Game of Armored Combat, the Mercenary box, the starter box, like all the supplements. Classic BattleTech is played on a hex map. So that's why they all have hex bases. You move a specific way. Alpha Strike turns it more into like a tabletop war game. There's no more hex map. You use a tape measure. You can do much bigger battles. The rules are simplified. So you don't have to worry about, I always tell people BattleTech is kind of a cross between like Risk and Battleship. So like you move, and then when you shoot, you use a chart to see like, where do I hit the mech? Do I hit it in like the left arm, the right torso, the left torso, the right leg, the left leg? In Alpha Strike, you just hit the mech, and it basically has hit points. And once you do enough hit points based on the weight class, it's removed from the game. So you can do big games of Alpha Strike and get them done at about the same time as like Randall and I playing like a lance on lance battle of traditional BattleTech. Just because of the way the rules are changed. But they're super fun. It really is a good game, and there's a really broad variety of like ways you can play, and like points values, and like tonnages is a big thing in BattleTech. So the heavier a mech is, the tougher it is. The lighter a mech is, the less well armored it is.
Yeah. Just a sec. So just want to jump into the chat for a second. So Josh says it's basically like Space Marines. What color do you like? If you like pink, play Wobbies. If you like green, play Northwind Highlanders. Nighthawk S86 said about a month into the hobby, jumped right in and did my own merc company.
Hell yeah, that's how you do it.
Absolutely. That's Almost every person who has ever played BattleTech has created their own unit at one time, because that, again, the universe, even with 100 million words of published material out there, the universe is big enough that you can still find a place where you can put it, and your story weaves in and out of the canon story, and it makes it feel like you're living the experience. It's part of the magic of what BattleTech provides for the community, is that lived experience of, I got to meet Natasha Kerensky on the battlefield, and she kicked the crap out of me, but it was so glorious, right? And Natasha being one of the most famous pilots in the entire canon. So yeah, it's awesome.
Okay, Kat said, goodness, there's so much info in the last 5 minutes, my brain is hurting.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And Josh says, the discrepancy between Innosphere and clans gives an asymmetrical experience, which isn't a bad thing in a war game.
No, it's absolutely wonderful. I love it. Actually, it's funny because my oldest, who's now 28, he's a game developer here at Catalyst Game Labs. He's been playing BattleTech his entire life, and he went through a good long phase where he would only play clans because 3025 is slow and pondering, and who cares? I just want to blow big stuff up. But he's now been able to reach the place where he can appreciate that there is a different tactical play style. And that's why I often get people like, oh, what's your favorite era to play in? And I'm like, well, I have a hard time not saying Succession Wars, because that was me as a teenager, right? So I have that emotional connection. But really, my favorite is what's on the table in front of me.
Sure.
Every era has its pluses and minuses. Every era has the fun tech, the new thing that you have to play around and figure out how to use on the battlefield. And I love that.
Yep. Cool. I will just call out John Roberts. I don't think we said hi to John, but he said it's awesome playing a third line house unit guarding the periphery, getting hammered by a frontline clan unit. You guys are laughing at noob. I'm like, I understand each of those words individually, all jammed together, not so much, but I expect that time.
So the periphery is...
That'll come in time. You don't have to explain it now.
Yeah, we'll do it. But, I mean, ultimately, the sense of the frontline clan mechs, when the Timberwolf first walked onto anybody's table and you're trying to fight it with a 3025 Warhammer, I mean, if I knew WWE, I would try to give you that. But imagine the scrawniest kid that goes into the WWE court and the biggest over-the-top guy. And that's what it felt like. The disparity between those two was so ridiculous. And ultimately at the time, I even remember feeling super upset, like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. But ultimately, it's just part of what made BattleTech glorious, that you could have this.
But you could also get lucky, and you could get lucky and roll that headshot with a PPC and see you later, Mad Cat.
Absolutely. And that brings out, again, there are so many factors of what, because then people will also ask, in addition to the Renaissance, is how did BattleTech survive, right? There's a million great games that we all played that are sitting in the dustbin, that no one plays anymore, that haven't been published. And one of the elements is what Jake alluded to right there with that headshot, is that I play a ton of tabletop miniature games. Just since COVID started, my son and we decided to become experts in tabletop miniature play. So we've played over 100 unique tabletop miniature games in the last couple of years. And there's some amazing, fantastic games out there that I love. If we want to talk about them sometimes, I'd be happy to. But BattleTech tells a story with every roll of a dice better than any other tabletop miniature game, in my opinion. And because of that, it then allows you to connect to that story, to connect to the mech, to connect to the table play in an immensely easy way that just very few other games can touch.
Right. Excellent. I have a question. Okay, we talked about. Let's just keep it at the moment. Keep it to clans and houses. I'm guessing because of the idea of the different play styles there, that clans have access to a different set of mechs than the houses.
Correct.
Does each of the houses have access to all of the same types of mechs?
So
For the most part. For the most part.
It's actually one of the things that, once again, Battletech is such a strange beast. So in multiple companies over all the decades, we will sit and we will analyze the industry. We will talk about these games, right? Here's all these mini games. Here's all these role-playing games. And we will try and look at, like any company, you're trying to look at patterns and what are people doing. And you're like, yes, all games do this thing except Battletech. And then all games do this thing except Battletech. Like Battletech constantly has the exception. And so that is one of the big exceptions. And it is a little hard when you have people coming in from other games like 40K or just all the War Machine, you name it. You have a faction, and that means you have specific units, and those are the only units you can play. That simply doesn't apply to Battletech. Okay. There are a few mechs that are pretty iconic and unique to a given faction, but even then, you could be a mercenary if you want to convince your friends, well, I fought them on the battlefield. And that Nodachi, which is incredibly combine-oriented, I defeated on the battlefield, and I took it as salvage. Okay, awesome. Now you can field it. So it really, once again, comes down to, if you like the look of a mech, then you can play it, right? Even the difference between the clan and the inner sphere, depending on the era you are playing in, you absolutely can do that, right? So if it's Succession Wars, well, then the clans and Inner Sphere didn't even exist in the same place. So you can't really justify that. Though, again, if you want to do it, if your team's okay with it, that's fine.
Happened somewhere off in the distance.
Exactly. You went out in the periphery and you're with the Explorer Corps, blah, blah, blah. But after the clan invasion, once you get to like Jihad and Dark Age, and certainly in the Ill Clan era, it's all mixed up. If you're playing a house and you want that, fantastic Warhawk that the clans have, that's just one of the most brutal assault mechs, yeah, you can have it, figure it out. But there is something called the master unit list. If you go to check that out, it's masterunitlist.info, I think it is. It is currently getting a complete facelift. So if you're wondering why it's super slow and all that, we have a massive new build of it that's about to launch, hopefully in the next month or so. That is going to be your go-to place for when you're putting forces together, when you're building games, whatever it is. Okay. And if you decide that, hey, you know what, I want to kind of play in canon, then you can go, okay, well, we're playing in the Clan Invasion, and I want to play House Daven units. And you can plug that data in, and it will instantly filter. Here's all the units they have access to.
Right. Okay.
Right. So we do have some really easy online assets that allow you to focus in, but also it just comes to what your play group is. If your play group is fine mixing and matching because you just love the look of that other faction's thing, then awesome, do that.
Right.
Dave, I think part of what you're asking to is based on that picture. So the mechs that are in the middle, the white ones, those are all clan mechs.
Correct.
And the black ones that are on the two sides, those are all inner sphere mechs.
Inner sphere.
And they're all different tonnages.
When you say inner sphere, you mean, is that house?
Yeah, inner sphere is the 5 houses. So, but you could use them for any inner sphere, and you could use them for any clan. It's just theoretically that the box is supposed to be clans versus inner sphere.
Well, and the reason we did it that way is because that's a balanced game right there. Yeah, those 8 mechs versus those 5 mechs, that's going to be a balanced game. But once you've played a couple of games, you're going to quickly realize that you can mix and match that all over the place and to create your balanced games. But because the clans in the inner sphere are the 2 most iconic macro factions based on that technology, it just makes sense to introduce you to that at the highest level when you're cracking open the Alpha Strike box.
Right.
Sure. Yeah.
The other thing that I always think is really cool, like I tell people all the time, Battletech, much like Horus Heresy, is a sci-fi historical game. So, like Randall was saying, you can play during all different eras. So there's like, you can play during the Star League. You can play during the Star League is Warhammer 40K during the Golden Age. It's like during the expansion, and then you've got the fall of the Star League, which is basically like the Horus Heresy, and then you've got the Succession Wars. The Succession Wars are the same thing. Basically, the Star League, all the member states are basically vassal states of like the high power, and then the Star League falls. And the whole reason why you have the Succession Wars is the 5 other powers that I mentioned, House Marek, House Steiner, House Liao, House Davian, and House Karita, are all like, we should be in charge. And then they fight over who should be in charge. So the first Succession War is they basically nuke and battle each other into the Stone Age almost. And then they're like, okay, listen, let's make some rules. From now on, you can't use nukes. And they're like, okay, cool. And then the second Succession War happens. And there's all kinds of like fights in cities and people get massacred. And they're like, okay, we need to have another set of rules. So you can't fight in an urban center, quote, unless it's unavoidable. And you can't use like crazy things to like, waste a planet unless it's unavoidable. Like, so there's all these like exceptions. And then the third Succession War happens. And then the fourth Succession War. And then the clan invasion happens after that. So, but anytime you're playing in those eras, to Randall's point, if you want to play like historically accurate, you can do that. You can go, okay, we're playing second Succession War. So maybe you could have an Atlas, but it's super rare. We all have locusts and stingers because there's a million of them that have been produced. It's like the Toyota Corolla of the Battletech universe. There's a million of them. So you can kind of mix and match, but depending on where you're playing in the timeline, it kind of dictates what you have access to. To Randall's point, you wouldn't have clan stuff in the first or second or even the third Succession War because like they're not a thing yet. Like they haven't shown up, so they don't exist. Right. But to Randall's point also, you can play as historically accurate as you want, or you can play as like loose as you want and go, well, we're just playing a game on Tuesday. It's Randall's guys against my guys. We're just gonna run, 400 tons of whatever. Okay, cool. So I'm going to take a clan mech and 3 locusts and whatever. Like you can kind of mix and match. So
yep. Well, and to tell a quick fun story about that. So I have my oldest son Bryn, and then his best friend Christian, who's our my son from another mother, who is still he works with Catalyst now as well. It's pretty awesome. But when they were teenagers, they were like me split in half. And what I mean by that is Bryn would sit down to play a game, and he'd be like, okay, I'm just going to grab some mechs and some sheets and play. And then Christian would be, yeah, but what era are we playing? Like, what faction are we playing? That'll tell me what mechs I can play. Are we playing mercenaries? And, like, the canon was everything to Christian, and Bryn cared nothing about the canon. So they would actually almost kind of fight over that sometimes. Right. And now it's fun because they've both, and the best part is at that time, Christian was actually a really terrible game player. And Bryn was like a really good player because that's what they cared about, right? And now they've both grown where Bryn reads all the fiction, he knows all the lore. But that's just a great example of 2 groups that could very much be that way. One group could care less about the canon. They just want to blow up cool stuff their robots. Whereas the other side is like, oh my gosh, if we're playing Succession Wars, okay, is it House Curita? Okay, is it 4th Succession War? Is it 3rd Succession War? Okay, if it's 3rd Succession War, then the Genyosha don't exist yet. So I can't play that, right? Because you can run down that.
I love it.
Excellent.
So my business partner, Ben, who Dave knows, Ben built the Black Widow Battalion, and he did it exactly as it is in the books. He found a master list of like the command lance and all the lances. So he built the Black Widow Battalion perfectly. Like
I know amazing members in this community who have built entire regiments that are keyed exactly to the canon, right? So you can fall in love with it that way. You can do it that way. I've done it that way. I've also done a million pickup games where I'm just throwing crap on the table to have some fun. So that's just one of the really great strengths about Battletech is you just make it your own.
Yeah. And I'd say I think the way that you put the I guess, introduced it to people in that Alpha Strike box is great, because it's these guys versus these guys, and then as you learn more, that's when you can make your decisions. Oh, yep. I will steal that one and plug it into my growing collection. Wow, cool.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna we've got a couple of other images here and there, some close-ups.
Nice.
So, what have we got here? What have we got here?
So that is meaning the actual models themselves.
Yeah. What are the mechs called? These
so starting on the left-hand side and going to the right, you've got the Wasp, and then in the back is the Wraith, and then the Locust, and then the Phoenix Hawk. So the Phoenix Hawk is one of the all-time classic medium mechs. Like, it was there from the very beginning. It's literally based on the Battletech fighter from Robotech and then Macross.
Right.
Yeah. So it's kind of based on that bit. And then the Locust was one of the, again, speaking of the, these are some of the all-time favorites, and so that's why we included them. So the Locust, that was one of those that was from Crusher Joe. The Wasp is another Battletech fighter. And then the Wraith is actually from a later technical readout, which, is super old compared to now, but was later than the original technical readout. But no, this is a great fast jumping lance is what you're going to call it. Four mechs considered a lance on the inner sphere side. This is going to move fast. You're not going to be able to really hit hard, but you're not there to hit hard. You're there to flank. You're there to get behind. You're there to move really quick.
This is your recon/skirmisher lance.
Absolutely. And that Wraith is a beast because it jumps. The Phoenix Hawk is great, but the Wraith is really designed for jumping exactly behind you because your armor on the back is never as strong as in the front, and it's got pulse lasers on it. So it's got a really long jump with pulse lasers that make it easier for them to hit you. So
it's like all the good World War II games. You don't want to shoot a Panzer in the front. You want to shoot a Panzer in the ass. So
exactly. So
the armor's thinner.
That's exactly what BattleTech is, and the Wraith excels at that.
Cool. Excellent. And then these guys.
This is the classics right here.
Going on the left to right, we've got the Warhammer. The Warhammer was what was on the original. Actually, the second edition, third edition boxes all had the Warhammer on it, including battle droids. You then got the Archer, and then the Blackjack, and then the Atlas. Now, here's a funny story about that Blackjack. So the Blackjack it's a completely okay mech. It's a medium design. It's a fire support. It's not a bad mech, but it's a pretty run-of-the-mill. It's never really been anyone's favorite.
It's a workhorse.
But it's never been anyone's favorite mech. Why in the world do you think we would take this run-of-the-mill that no one has ever said that it's their favorite and feature it as a star design in our new Alpha Strike box set? Anyone?
It's because when you play BattleTech online, that's the starter mech. That's what you start.
When you play in Harebrained Schemes BattleTech, that's the starter mech. That became a favorite mech that everybody wanted, and so that's just one of those great moments where you get this mix between the various ways in which you play that absolutely can impact each other. So this is a beast of a lance. This will throw down all sorts of hurt all over you.
Excellent. I was going to suggest it was because not everything can be a 10.
No, that's not true.
But for example, the Locust isn't actually that great of a design, but it's kind of crazy how fast it is. And people I would never give it a high rating, but people love to play it because it is like hard to play, but it's fun to play. And so when you can pull off my Locust lived to the end of the battle, that's almost like a badge of courage that you may pull that off. So you're right. They don't all have to be big. But that's absolutely why it is because it's the Harebrained Schemes computer game that we brought that in.
There we go. Excellent. You got
to do the clans one now. Let's walk through the clans one.
Okay, yeah, let's.
Just because Jake doesn't like them, we shouldn't.
They're fine.
There we go. So I am going to. So here's a great moment where the lore for most of Battletech's history is created and introduced via the novels. And there are things that occur in the novels and in lore that are awesome, that from a game design are a nightmare. Okay. And clan names are one of them. And what I mean by that is when the clans came in, it was almost, think of it as the Mongol hordes coming in, or almost like an alien invasion. Brand new mechs. No one had ever seen them before. No one had ever seen these. The camouflage was weird. The logos were weird. It literally was out of nowhere invasions. So the books then are being written and flipping back and forth, right? They're from the inner sphere side, and then the next chapter might introduce a clan side. So when you're first introduced to the Timberwolf, the rabbit ear mech in the background, okay, the clan name is Timberwolf. But
I'm an inner sphere guy, so that's a Mad Cat.
But the inner sphere didn't know that, so the inner sphere had to name it, so they named it the Mad Cat. So all of the original designs of the clan mechs had two names. Okay. Which again, in the lore is awesome. It makes perfect sense. It's amazing. But then you're sitting at a table and brand new players are calling the exact same design two different names, like from a game development side and from the IP brand awareness and all of that. It's been amazing, but it's also caused infinite problems.
Nighthawk just made a comment in the chat, which is really accurate. It's the NATO names for Soviet or Russian hardware.
Oh yeah, perfect. That's a perfect example of that. So it made all the sense in the world, and it's a wonderful lore bit that's been endlessly confusing over 30 years after the fact. So starting on the left-hand side, you've got, I'm going to say the inner sphere name first and then the clan name. So starting on the left-hand side, you had the Black Hawk, and the clans called it the Nova. The next one in the back then, the inner sphere name was the Masakari, and that was specifically because the Draconis Combine ran into it first, so they gave it a Japanese name, and that's actually called the Warhawk for the clans. The next one then was called the Dasher because it's, insanely fast, and it's called the Fire Moth. And then we already talked about that it's the Mad Cat, Timberwolf. The last one on the right, though, was late enough that it only has one name. It's called the Pouncer because at a certain point, the clans and Inner Sphere were mixing that you so quickly had the intelligence on what it was, you didn't need the two names.
Right.
I always got a kick out of the later artists who did a lot of these because at that point, Luce was gone, and all the crazy clan mechs that have their arms like this.
Well, again, so the reason that exists, for those that don't know, there was something Jordan pioneered. Don't let Jordan. So Jordan Wiseman was the original creator, along with Ross Babcock of BattleTech. Jordan then went on to pioneer a slew of first things, and one of the things that he created was a virtual location-based entertainment. It was called Virtual World, and this was literally in the early 90s when no one had ever done this before, where you could walk into a place and pay money and sit down in a giant cockpit and pull the cockpit closed over to you, and then you're playing in the battle mech and piloting it.
Yeah, Dave's got it. Battle pods. They're always at Gen Con.
The battle pods, right? They were at Gen Con, but they were originally location-based entertainment before anyone was doing it. And in fact, like the gamer tags that we have, all these modern things that everyone just, of course we have gamer tags. Of course we have avatars. All of that can actually be tied back to BattleTech through virtual world entertainment in this. So the reason that quite often those things are really funky is because they had to be funky for the polygon counts that they were done, because all of the clan mechs were designed for virtual world entertainment first. So that
Nice.
was old crappy polygon counts that they had to take into consideration. So that's why you get some of those really weird poses.
Yeah, that's wild.
What else? What else you got, Dave?
I think the next thing I want to ask, I think we've got about 10 minutes before we'll jump into checking out some photos. But I will just call out. Scott said, "I haven't seen Dave write a thing down." He's not even taking this seriously. It's like
I think it's more like Jake and I are just bowling him over with a giant stream of consciousness. So
there's certain elements of that, but it's I'm about all about pattern recognition. So there are patterns I'm picking up on through all of this.
Thanks.
But one of the key things that I think my next step is to have a look at that universe book, and
absolutely
get some feel across that.
Again, the great thing is both the Game of Armored Combat or Alpha Strike have a great primer in them. A little bit of fiction, a little bit of write-up on the universe, a little bit write-up on the factions. So you already get a little bit of your toe in the moment you grab a box set.
Yep.
But if you've played a game and you like it, and if you've taken a glance through that and you like what you're looking at and want more lore, yeah, the very next book you want is the Battletech Universe book.
Cool. Excellent. So the next thing, sort of the final thing that I think we'll cover tonight is, as I mentioned before the show, I'm a painter first and foremost. So color schemes. Talk to me about color schemes. Can I do whatever I like? Or
Yes.
The short answer is yes. Do whatever you want. Do whatever's cool. Like I have a great turtle that somebody gifted me that they painted up as a ladybug, and I love it to death. I played it for quite a few years.
Cool.
So you can literally do whatever you want. There are canon schemes. So once again, it gets back to your question, the question I said earlier of, is there a rule for that? Yes, there's a rule for that. If you want to do that, same thing with the camo scheme. If there's a faction you like, then it has dozens and dozens of canon camo schemes. And
Right.
so there's a place called Camo Specs Online that has some amazing painters, some of which have been working with Battletech for decades at this point. You can go up there and fall down that rabbit hole for days and days and days to see all the amazing factions and colors. And that may also decide, just like, hey, wow, that Smoke Jaguar logo is fantastic, I want to be Clan Smack Jaguar. You might look at a camo scheme and go, oh my gosh, that looks amazing, I want to do that. Awesome, right?
Go.
But at the end of the day, paint it up how you wanted. And ultimately, that's often why people love mercenary commands, because then you make your own mercenary command and you make your own camouflage pattern and do whatever you want. So,
Right.
By the way, these are all metal. These are not the new plastics in this picture.
Sure. Yeah.
I can tell.
Yeah, these are all the original metals,
They're skinny.
Yeah.
and they're all very static posed.
Yeah.
One question I had from this is, earlier you mentioned like a lance is like 4 mechs.
Yeah.
I'm noticing these in groups of 5.
The clans run in what's called a star.
I'm not sure why those are in groups of 5, because those are all Inner Sphere, and Inner Sphere doesn't do groups of 5.
I'm betting so he could swap stuff out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it could have been that he was doing 5 so he could customize his, play a lance and then pull one in. Yeah. So they're, speaking of that rabbit hole you can fall down endlessly. That's actually another one where clans do everything in 5s. There's 5 mechs to a star. There were 5 homeworlds. Like 5 is their North Star. Everything revolves around 5. As my son and I have talked about, that great thing of the lore was awesome, because 5 is absolutely a fantastic number. But it then made it even harder to figure out how to balance it, because then the clans came in and everything about them was better, including the fact that they had one more mech than you. Right. So in reality, it would have been way better if they had been in 3s, but 3s aren't as cool. So, what do you do?
Cool. And I think the next image I got here.
Ooh, nice.
Those are all the new plastics.
Yep. And so this is House Steiner, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Look at that, me learning already.
Well, and interestingly enough, once again, so is this all the same guy that was painting?
I think. Oh, well, no.
No,
These
it's two different guys.
two different.
Well,
Yeah.
The reason why I'm wondering is because once again, this is 13 mechs and not 12 mechs. So there's
Right.
there's 4 mechs and a lance, and then there's 3 lances and a company, and he's got 13. Which again, no, like if you want to play it that way, that's fine. There's plenty of people that will play whatever number they want. There's also others that will only deploy, within the cannon bit. But it also could be that he just wanted an extra one to plug in when he was playing. Right? There's lots of reasons why.
He could be doing something where he's running a command mech, and then he has like 3 lances. Like,
It could be, though.
who knows?
Usually when you're doing that, it's a reinforced company, so then you have a whole extra command lance.
Yeah.
Right.
But again, it could just be he's got an extra mech. Awesome.
Cool. Excellent. And also, of course, we just had to show off
Yeah.
our friend Tyler Mengel from he's the social media specialist for the Army Painter team.
Yeah, that's the Black Python. And people would often ask me, what's your favorite redesigned mech in the Clan Invasion? What's your favorite redesigned mech in the Mercenaries Kickstarter? And my favorite redesigned mech in the Mercenaries is hands down this exact mech, because obviously all art is subjective. We all have mechs that we look at and we love them, and others are like, well, I mean, I guess that's okay, right? That's the case. But almost universally, everyone will be okay saying that the original art for the Black Python that was in the 3055 is just one of the worst pieces of art ever for Battletech.
Yeah, it's hot trash.
So the fact that we could take that and Anthony and his amazing team could give us this is just glorious to me.
This mech is always hilarious to me because, I'm like, it's a jet with legs. Is literally what it is. Like, it's
Yep. And yet, I think it looks fantastic.
Yeah. That's cool. And Tyler's done a great job on it. Looks wonderful. Is that
Give me more photos to show off? I love looking at good painted mechs.
No, actually, I just grabbed these 3 today. Yeah, it was just sort of working out which way I could go.
Yeah.
That it was is that a freedom? I assume there was.
Yeah. And ultimately, unfortunately, that can also get into a little bit of a analysis paralysis, where there's just like, well, where do I start? And we're like, well, just pick something, right? But I really would focus on a faction logo or a name, right? The names can be really cool. That's actually why so many people love the clans. The clans have the best names, man. Smoke Jaguar, Clan Wolf, Clan Jade Falcon, their names are fantastic. Or a paint scheme. And just flip through the books, flip online, until you find something that just takes your breath away, and that's your starting point, and start in.
Okay, cool. That'll be good. I will do that. Then, okay, we have hit that point of the show. We're about to jump in and have a look at the miniatures from our Facebook group, the Build Paint Play community. But I want to say a couple of things. One is, if you're watching, don't forget to like. If you aren't subscribed already, subscribe. Hit the little notification bell, and we'll be all good. Oh, what have you got there, Jake?
Da, 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 da,
Yeah,
da.
I figured I would show this off real quick. So this is coming. It's not out yet.
Yeah, it was available at Gen Con, and it'll be out in October.
So Battletech Gothic is another new take on Battletech, where the inner sphere is degenerating and falling apart, and there are all kinds of horrible bio monsters that they have made. I'm not gonna lie, when I first grabbed this, I was like, oh sweet, it's like Pacific Rim. My mechs are gonna be fighting monsters. And yes and no. Yes, you're fighting monsters, but it's because each of the houses has their own horrible deformity monsters that they throw at each other. But again, this is another take on Battletech where you can kind of start wherever you want. If you want to do weird stuff, you want to do this. If you want to do classic stuff, you can do the basic. But there's a bunch of mechs in here that have been sort of like, I don't know, gothicked up is the best way I would describe it. And the Atlas itself, the big mech, the big guy with the skull that's in the picture that Dave was just showing, you can make him like 5 different ways. So there's like a big Pope hat kind of thing, and there's like horns, and there's like this big like sort of back fin. But that's another one that's coming out. Another great box set. It has a really good price point. I mean, this is $100, and it's basically, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's 8 mechs. One of them is basically buildable, and then you get the universe primer, which is another whole book in there. There's the rules, and then there's like all the cheats and the data stuff, and then there's, like Randall was saying, there's another whole data dump in there. So there's like a whole world primer that's in there as well. So another wacky version of Battletech you can get into if you want to go down that route.
Just to jump in really quick and explain that's the first official alternate setting that Battletech has ever had. So just to be very clear that
it's not Battletech.
It has nothing to do with the Prime line, if we want to call it that. And if Gothic is not your aesthetic, awesome, totally ignore it. This will be one of what will be several going forward, probably one every 18 months or so. The next one being rockets and ray guns, kind of an homage to 1950s. And then the one after that will probably be anime. So if Gothic doesn't do you, but one of those other two might, then hold off and you'll be able to get those in the future. Nice. And then just because I have it right here, not to keep interrupting Dave.
Oh, Aces, yeah.
Speaking of holding boxes up. So this box, so Gothic was awesome to be a part of. It was so much fun to go and do that design work. Huge shout out to Herb that developed the universe and Marco for all the aesthetics. Aces, I am beside myself with excitement because it plugs directly into your Alpha Strike box. It's literally like a game cartridge or DLC that you're plugging in as your OP4. It has like 100,000 words of fiction in the box in a branching play campaign that you get to play through. And it is solo play and co-op play with an amazing AI deck system that Josh and Tommy from Linvander built for us. Obviously all game companies like to talk hyperbole. There's a chance that this really could change our hobby. And I think that in a couple of years, you're going to see something very similar to this coming from a lot of different tabletop companies, because I think it will introduce a whole new slew of players who've always wanted in, but don't want versus and want to sit down and play next to the person who loves Battletech and loves this hobby. Right. And so this is going to be huge coming out in November.
Cool. Excellent. So Gothic in October, Aces in November.
Yep.
Fantastic. And so that I'm not left out of the holding up things, I think this, my Tabletop Minions bag is going to be good for carrying my mechs in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You probably put 3 or 4 lances in there at least.
Oh, easy. Cool. There we go. Sorry, just had to do it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Let's jump in then. Right. Sorry, we'll say, Randall, thank you very much for all of that. I do have a better idea now of where to get started and how to make my initial choices. And then,
awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to dig into that.
This has been a tough thing to have to come on and talk Battletech with you guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got to talk about Battle Mechs again.
Yeah,
sorry,
talk about Battletech again.
Figure away from a full day of talking about mechs.
Yeah. No, I am very humbled and grateful that I've been doing this for 30 years. And if you can't tell, I still love this to death, then I'm doing this wrong, because I just love it to death. I love talking about it. I love being a part of this community. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thank you.
All right, Dave, what do we got? What do we got from our community?
What have we got?
Are we getting questions?
Pardon?
Well, no, we're going to show off stuff that people have submitted to our Facebook, and then we show them.
Oh, awesome. Very cool.
painted minis. So
I don't know. This could be anything. I have no idea.
okay, first up we've got Alan Borthwick. Alan's been working on a zombie game that he and his club are going to be running later in the year.
Nice.
So he's got a whole range of zombie runners here, I think.
I definitely don't want that big guy in the back to catch us.
Yeah.
No. Is that can that be a zombie werewolf? Can you have a zombie?
Sure. I mean, it can be whatever you want it to be, Dave.
Yeah. No, that's great looking.
But I think I think Alan said that this took him like 2 weeks. 2 weeks of painting time.
How many?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Okay.
2
We
weeks.
got it in.
Excellent. Fantastic. Next up is Amos. Said that he's been working on. Sorry, Randall. I'm just going to mute you for a sec. There we go. Been working on some. These are foldable L-shaped terrain pieces for.
Oh yeah, you can see the hinges like in the corner.
In the corners of them, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So
you can like flat pack these away. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's kind of what they look like from overhead. And I think we just do that. There we go. We'll see how that turns out. But yeah, looking great there, Amos. I think the that grime and the edges looks awesome.
Yeah, those are really good.
Very cool. Nice work. Excellent. Next up.
There we go.
Cat Swift actually said in the chat, excellent, I can get my Gorka fix.
Yeah, this segment is brought to you by Chris Gorka. So Randall, Chris is who painted this stuff for Tommy at Gen Con.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
he's a buddy of ours.
This is fantastic.
Yep.
Looks
so
amazing.
Yeah, Chris painted up a lovely unit of Blood Knights. These are only 2 of the unit of 5. You can check out the rest in the BuildPaintPlay community group.
These are some of my favorite models in the range. I think the Blood Knights are super cool.
I must admit, I haven't paid much attention to them before, but seeing the way that Chris has got them and just how dynamic they are.
Yeah, they're super rad.
I might have to think about adding them to my Soulblight Gravelords. But yeah, nice work there, Chris. Looking great.
Dude, Blood Knights are the whole reason I play Soulblight Gravelords.
That's fair. I do it for the skeletons.
My army is, I have almost no skeletons in it. My army is 3 units of these guys, a unit of Black Knights, and Prince Vordry. That's it. That's the whole
army. Nice. That's cool. Next up.
Oh, classic old school dwarves.
Yeah. He said that quite a few years ago he got a copy of the Bugman's game from Bugman's Bar in the UK, but only recently was he able to collect enough Joseph Bugman models to be able to run them all. But he said he's going to each of them is going to be painted up like Bugman, but each is going to have a different sort of accent color, so they can be easily distinguished in the game.
I mean, if he's doing it the classic way, they should all have a goblin green base and a red wood axe handle.
Yeah, but I think you can see this one's got green.
Right.
Moment. I think one of them's going to have red, one will be blue, one will be yellow. Cool. I guess what the other 2 are going to be. But yeah, coming along nicely there, Chris. Top stuff. Dave Hummel. Dave Hummel's who's in the chat. Is working on his faux Thunderhawk, the faux hawk.
Oh, is he going to do it as a transport?
He's doing it as a transporter, yeah. So,
right on, so he's gonna sling a rhino under each wing.
Yep. So he's just been getting the measurements right with his conversion there.
Very cool.
You can see the little holes that he's created on the exhaust stacks of the rhino.
You can barely see it underneath, but he's got a bunch of old school like Dave Gallagher artwork.
Oh yeah,
you can see the like shin and toe of an Eldar, and then there's like the green Space Marine helmet. I think that's from the Orc drawing.
Yeah, I think it is. Yep.
Pretty great.
But I think it's great that you're having some fun with that, Dave. And nice use of those Sentinel legs to get the the connectors, looking cool. There we go. Yeah, rhinos and/or Ministratum cargo pods.
Nice.
They're definitely cool. Excellent, nice stuff. And Sulin Liu.
Sulin's still killing it. Phenomenal work.
Yep, doing some awesome decal work and weathering.
Yep.
His Crazy Warmaster Titan.
That gold is so good.
Yeah, it is really nice. The
Wow.
having so he's got the yellow of House Gryphonicus. He's got the gold trim, and then the gold of the decal is different as well.
Yeah.
But they all work really well together. And I guess you could also call that like the bronze trim there.
Yeah.
But they're all
I can't wait to see this thing when it's done.
Yeah, that's fantastic looking. Wow.
He's been teasing us the last couple of weeks, Randall.
He's been showing pieces of it.
That's just amazing.
Yeah. And on the other shoulder pad there,
Nice.
I think this is freehand.
Yeah, that's all freehand.
It's free. Jeez.
Which is amazing, isn't it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic looking.
Yeah, beautiful work there, Sulin. Yeah, we're excited. We're excited to see the next steps. Beautiful. Sorry, Nighthawk. This one is a decal.
Yeah, that is a decal.
Yep. But this one is a.
That one that's freehand.
Got it.
Awesome.
Yep.
John Steining.
Some more. These are what? These aren't the spoilers. These are. It's their specific unit.
Chthonian headhunters.
No, they're basically like a replacement for the spoiler squads, but Reavers.
There we go. Thanks for that, John. Welcome.
These are awesome.
Yep, looking great. And I think last week, Jake, we were discussing whether they were homemade or Dragonforge design bases.
Yeah.
They are homemade.
I said they looked like they were scratch made, but
So I love those bases, man.
yeah.
So they're done with by creating a sheet of mixing up some dental plaster.
Dave, you got a ton of echo going on.
Yep. Hang on a sec. There we go. Yeah, mixing up dental plaster and creating a thin sheet, and then once it's dried, cracking it.
Yep.
And then gluing them down.
Very cool.
In this particular setting, John was saying he didn't want to give up his 25 millimeter bases. So the base is underneath the 25 mil, but the concrete on top extends a little bit further, so they look like 32s.
Interesting. I literally, as soon as I had the option, I broke all my old Space Marines off 25s and put them on 32s.
All good.
This is the most elaborate quad battery that will ever be painted.
Absolutely.
Luis was in the store today, and I was like, "Dude, everybody's just gonna prime this thing bolt gun metal, and then hit it with some washes and call it a day."
That's crazy. Love it.
Yep. Luis has done an awesome job there, and very much in his style.
Yep.
Great. But yeah, it looks beautiful.
I don't know if he's sending you a picture on the back. There's all like the ammo drums, like the ammo hoppers, and he had some leftover Gundam transfers. So every single ammo hopper has a thing that says caution latch.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, Space Marines wouldn't do that. They're all hypno-indoctrinated. They know that there's a latch. Like when they see it, they think that. But he was like, I had to do something. It's so elaborate. Like this thing is awesome. I love it.
Yeah. Definitely check out the Facebook group. You'll be able to see all of the photos that Luis put up there. He also did a spinner video as well.
Yep. Yeah.
It's cool to check that out. But yeah, beautiful work there, Luis. Yeah, we're just going to see what you come up, what you're going to start work on next from that box set.
That thing's awesome.
Next up, Mike.
Oh God, Mike's a breathtaking Horus Ascended.
Wow.
Yep. I think a couple of weeks ago we showed the that base.
Yeah.
Just that wonderful fiery
Yeah.
charnel pit, which is just awesome.
Yeah, just the base alone is worth. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the edges of his cape are like catching on fire, like just the hole that's getting burned in his cape, and
Yeah.
it's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah, Mike has all the cheat codes enabled here. This is pretty great.
Nice.
But yeah, he's done a spectacular job. I do love the and when we're talking about being able to go with your own color schemes and working through that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So having Horus here in his Sons of Horus green.
Yep, instead of black.
John's paint job earlier, John Stanning's paint job, Sons of Horus as well. Just a different choice of the green, whichever one works for you as a personal choice.
Nice.
Good. And Josh says when the War Master invites everyone over for a barbecue.
And he barbecues everyone.
Yeah.
I was gonna say we're getting barbecued.
Yeah. Show up early for the barbecue.
Is Mike going to Nova? Is this his entry?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I didn't see him mention that, but he might have.
This is killer, though.
For the Nova Open.
Yeah.
Nice.
Are you coming out for that, Randall?
I am not. Bryn, my son, will be out there, so you can go and ask him.
I was like, we usually see Bryn, so
yeah, because I'm at. Unfortunately, I would love to go to Nova Open, but I do PAX West, and it's literally the same weekend.
Yep.
Okay.
So the next time I'll probably see you guys will be at PAX Unplugged.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be there.
Excellent. Fantastic, but awesome work there, Mike. Next up, Patrick Keith. Patrick is getting started on a drop troops army.
It's like Elysian drop troops. I'm loving it.
Yep. He said he's doing this as well for the independent characters community challenge.
Nice.
They're running during fall. So big fans of the independent characters. We love you guys there. So head on over and check out their community as well.
I love that crazy Necromunda buggy thing. That thing is awesome.
Yeah, the Taros.
Yeah.
I think this is great.
It's super cool. The in the usual sort of scale creep sort of action, the plastic one is about 50% larger than the original resin one.
Yeah,
which is crazy. But yeah, awesome stuff, Patrick. We're excited to see more of it.
I love it. I love that like dirty brown paint scheme. It's so effective.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, looking great. Next up, Sean Gleason.
These photos do not do it justice. Like I saw some other photos that he posted, and like this thing is massive. I mean, you can see why the paint pot's like this thing is like this thing is like this big.
Yeah. Absolutely. But no, I think Sean's doing a great job. I love the color choices as well.
Yeah. That purple and the green with the blue is just great.
Yeah. Keeps it all in that analogous kind of scheme. Beautiful work there, Sean. Oh, Aaron has joined us. Call for fire. It's showing pretty War Dolly's time.
It is that time.
Next up, Stephen Ryder.
I definitely had some of these. That's like the Ralpartha altar.
Yep.
These are cool.
And yeah, Stephen said that he's painting up these. I think he's painting one setup for possibly for the. He's painting it up for somebody's collection, but he figured at the same time he would paint his own to kind of match them. So
very nice.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. Ralpartha Legacy, says Josh. Dungeon Tiles. Looking great there.
I remember ordering these when I was a kid. It's like 2 metal postage stamps is what they are.
Right. Yeah.
Like one has a cauldron on it, and then the other one is. So when I was a kid, I mean, I think I got mine when I was like 11. I glued it together because I thought that was like the leg of a table, and I thought the other one went on top with all the books, and I thought all the little things were supposed to be creatures like under the table.
Right.
That's funny.
Then you discovered later. Maybe
Yeah.
not so much.
And then a buddy was like, "Oh, why'd you glue it on top of the cauldron?" I was like, "That's a cauldron," because it doesn't read like a cauldron because it's like
Yeah.
it's like an old school sculpt job, so it's slightly rounded. And I was like, I thought it was like a table like pedestal.
Yeah.
Excellent. In the chat, Aaron has just said, "I'm not furiously chopping pieces to bits for a display base for a potential capital palette entry the week before Nova." Couldn't be him. No.
It's all good, man. Phil's doing the same thing. He's been sending us pictures all day of his capital palette entry. So
That's awesome. Okay, yeah. So there we go. Josh says these will go on the Rail Path of Legacy game room display.
nice.
Very cool. Nice work, Stephen. And then finally, we got Veronica Aldean.
Ooh, a Sigmarite.
Yep. And Veronica said this was her first finished miniature.
Well done.
Yeah. Well done.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does look really, really well done. It's
Definitely better looking than my first painted miniature ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
I think mine was a Ralpartha Knight that I did with I blobbed on Tester's silver and then painted his face with Tester's skin tone and called it a day. He looked terrible. He was a big silver blob.
Yeah, I'm with you. My first one was garbage. So that's awesome.
Even the base, like great job on the base too. Some texture, some
Yeah.
different heights. You get a little bit of the grass going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my first one was a dwarf from the like the long box, the D&D box.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's one of
That's
those. So, but yeah, again, nothing like this.
Yeah.
Much more like Jake's speed. I think I
Yeah.
maybe even used exactly the same paints.
Back then, you could only use testers. There weren't any other options.
That's true. There was no other options.
You weren't allowed. It was all it was. But no, excellent work there, Veronica. Cool. I think that is that for our
That's what we got. All right.
minis.
Awesome. That was fun.
So normally at the end of the presentation there, we talk about next week's show. We're still nailing down our guests for next week.
I kind of like this last minute stuff. I dig it. I think it's cool for the fans. People gotta keep an eye on stuff so they can figure out what's coming next. I like it.
As you know, I'm a little bit more of a planner, so
Yeah,
me-
I know. That's why I like it. I'm sure that Dave does not, but I like it. So
awesome. That's cool. So yeah, I must admit that during that, I think I just lost my final question, but I was going to have a final question for Randall. We talked about the I gotta switch it so that Randall's nice and big. Nope, wrong thing. There we go. That's the one.
there you go.
Okay, cool.
Going further, even get like really big.
Come close. But the things are going fantastically for Battletech. You guys have obviously, Catalyst Game Labs has obviously put a lot of effort into creating all of the presentation that exists now and what we've got coming. And you yourself personally invested, was it 30 years?
30 years. Most
Years
of my life. Well over half my life has been
Yep.
in this universe and game.
Which is fantastic. So how does the current success make you feel?
Actually, so I was so at the Mercenaries Kickstarter, trying to find where to go with that, right? Like that's a really big question. The Mercenaries Kickstarter we ran 2 years ago. We launched it at Adepticon, live streaming it, and within 4 or 5 hours we had beat the clan invasion completely. Like it was an unbelievable moment. And then at the end of Adepticon, which I love Gen Con to death because it's the bread and circuses, it's the Coliseum of our hobby. But Adepticon really is my favorite show.
We all say that it's the best.
It's the best. I love that show to death. They run it so unbelievably well. And part of that is like I'm an equal opportunity gamer. I play every type of game. But when you're going to Gen Con, you're then seeing, the entire industry, everybody. Whereas at Adepticon, you're all speaking the exact same geek language. You're there for the exact same experience. It's really amazing. So we're at the end of that, and they're going around the table asking us, our thoughts on it. And we were getting emotional. You can't have put this much of a lifetime into this and not be emotional about it. But Ray, Ray Rusty, the line developer, he said it, I thought, in the most perfect way, which is, this is what Battletech has always deserved. And so there's a video from a couple of years ago that I think just is perfect for it. And while I love how right here at the end the sun is really starting to shine up, like, but there was a video of a guy playing the Harebrained Schemes Battletech, but he gives like a pitch, like a 2-minute pitch about Battletech, and the video title is called "The Greatest Science Fiction Universe You've Never Heard of."
Right.
And that has been our mantra, that this is the greatest science fiction universe that almost no one's heard of, and it's our job to make sure that how much we love it, we give a chance for everyone to love it. And obviously it's not going to be for everyone, but it can be for a lot more people than have seen it yet. And so it has just been incredibly humbling. All last year, I literally circumnavigated the entire globe. I put 100,000 miles last year traveling all over the world to sit at your gaming tables and to hear your stories of what Battletech has meant to us and how important it is. And I am just beyond humbled and blessed to be a part of it, to be the wacky avatar, if you will, that represents all of us, right? I'm just here getting to do this because of all of the amazing Battletech community and players out there, and I can't thank them enough. It's just amazing.
Yeah, fantastic. That's cool. So one of the things that I mentioned before the show that we're going to do is over the next umpteen episodes, we'll have a little segment each show, which is essentially where's Dave at with Battletech. We'll talk about during that segment. I'll briefly tell everybody where I'm up to in like learning the lore or painting the minis or choosing a color scheme,
Awesome.
Learning the game, and then hopefully, as I said, the next time we'll see you is at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hopefully you and I can get a chance to throw down, and you can see if I've become I think in the show notes I might have mentioned becoming a semi-competent commander.
That'd be awesome. I would love to do that. That'd be super fun.
Cool. Excellent. So yeah, we'll try and get that done. So
Okay.
excellent. Okay.
So the only thing I would say is, at first I wanted to, Randall, thank you so much for being on here. It was awesome having you.
Love it.
And I also wanted to thank you on behalf of everybody that we worked with at San Diego Comic-Con. The mechs were a huge hit. We used them for painting metal, and we used them for using speed paints. And
Awesome.
everybody loved them. We got a bunch of photos that got posted. They were a ton of fun. Hopefully we can do that again next year. Like that
Absolutely.
stuff and the superhero stuff was the best. And the mechs were so many people were like, oh, giant robots. And I was like, this is Battletech and it's for a game. And I showed people the boxes they came in, and I was like, pop into your local hobby store. So hopefully that created a couple hundred new Battletech players.
I love it. That's fantastic.
They were a blast. Thank you guys so much for providing those.
Absolutely. Happy to do that, and we absolutely will do it again next year.
Awesome. That's so cool.
Okay. Another note. I know you guys will get a kick out of this. I know we got about a minute till we get to get out of here. But the other thing was, I remember being at that Adepticon 2 years ago when you were launching it, and seeing your faces, like being like, "How's it going?" You guys were all like, Dave, I cannot describe you. They were stunned. Like it was like, how did the Kickstarter go? And it was like, they're like, we already hit all of our stretch goals. And I was like, what do you mean? And then Town looks exhausted, and he's like, we stayed up until like 1 a.m. last night or 2 a.m. trying to come up with like
Yeah.
more stretch goals, and those lasted like a half hour. Like
Yep.
they kept trying to like get out in front of it, and it just wasn't possible.
Yep.
So,
So as a
was
fun
awesome.
thing here because this is all about painting in the hobby, so I'm going to carefully move my thing to show you that literally part of the reason why we had to time it right is in like 30 minutes, I got a whole household coming over
nice.
to do painting. I got like 10 people. I got 8 lights set up and air press the air compressor set up, and so we're going to be diving into painting tonight as well. So
Nice. That's awesome. If there's anything Dave and I can do to help with that, you let us know. We're happy to return the favor. So.
We'll let you know.
Well, everybody, thank you guys for joining us in the chat. If you guys have any questions, obviously hit us up. You can message Randall and the guys at Catalyst on their social media as well. Please post this video everywhere. Hopefully Catalyst will put this up on there so all their fans can hear all this great stuff that Randall unpacked for us today. Make sure you guys post your stuff for next week. Dave and I will let you know who our guest is as soon as we know who it is. Thank you guys for joining us. We will see you all next week. And as always, do not forget to build, paint,
play.
Shut up and sit down.